So, should we bring in the closer?
I think it'd be a good time for that.
All right.
Hello, everybody, and welcome to episode number 60. We're at a round number again. Episode number 60 of the Free Baseball Podcast presented by the Athletes Hub. As always, I'm Davis Bird, and I'm joined by number one world's famous Rockies fan, Jake Crumpler. It's a Rockies pod, so we're talking Rockies, and we're talking other guys that play baseball that aren't as important as them. So it'll be a shorter pod today, less to cover, but still fun stuff to cover. On the same Rockies veins, always talk about hot weeks, and let's talk about that guy that the Rockies gave away for a bucket of baseballs and Austin Gomber. So Nolan Arenado, probably hottest hitter in baseball right now. Obviously, over the last week since May 10th, he's hitting 440, 464 on base, not walking very much, but he doesn't need to when you're slugging 1.120. He scored 6 runs, 5 dingers. He has like 5 dingers in back-to-back games. So I think he homered in 5 consecutive games.
Yep.
13 RBIs, a steal, which is wild because Arenado is not fast at all. And he's been worth almost 1 F-WAR over a 7-day stretch, which is absolutely ridiculous.
Yeah, he's been going off, and it's finally, honestly, because he had a really slow start to the season, and I thought he was just injured, to be honest, because he had some really awkward swings, and he just wasn't looking like his normal Hall of Fame self. So I thought something was wrong, and that he was sort of trying to play through an injury rather than just take the IL hit and get better and come back strong. But looks like he's over whatever was plaguing him before, and now he's just like back to normal Norman and just doing his thing. And yeah, it's good to see for everybody that's not a Cubs fan. But yeah, I think baseball's better when Arenado's hitting well, and the Cardinals really needed that boost.
Yeah, Arenado was one of my favorite baseball players before he went to the Cardinals, so I still like watching him play baseball. It's just a shame that he's doing it for the Cardinals. But this other guy that we're going to talk about on the AL side, and also a pitcher. I really like this guy, and I don't know why. I've just liked him for a while, but it's Dane Dunning of the Texas Rangers. He had 2 starts over the last 7 days, the first of which coming against the Seattle Mariners, where he went 6 innings pitched. He gave up 6 hits and a walk, only 2 earned. He got 5 strikeouts, generated 11 whiffs, which is good for 37% CSW, which is very good. And he followed that up against the Braves with 6 more innings. 6 more hits again, just the 1 earned this time, no walks and 4 Ks, 7 whiffs this time, which is good for, what is that, a 23% called strikes plus whiffs percentage. And Dunning has kind of reestablished himself in this rotation after sort of being stuck in like a long relief swingman sort of role to start the year. And I like Dunning a lot. I like him mainly because of the look. He's one of the glasses guys. He's just a big dude. He doesn't throw hard, but he gets a lot of results. He's a driveline guy, very cerebral, intelligent pitcher. If you watch any of the driveline videos on like TikTok where he's like helping out other pitchers craft pitches, which I think is really cool. So it's good to see a guy like Dane Dunning having some success with the Rangers again.
He's wearing glasses, so he's a numbers guy. I wrote about him before the season started. He was one of the few guys I mentioned in my Chasing Tails article, talking about players that get called strikes with their fastballs, which sometimes can be sustainable if you do it over a long period of time. So basically the idea is get some called strikes with your fastball, and then when hitters do swing, they're not swinging at your fastball. They're swinging at your better pitches, your breaking pitches. Sometimes pitchers' best pitch is their fastball, but a lot of the time, in general, changeups, off-speed pitches, breaking pitches, they have much more success overall than fastballs do. So if you're having batters avoid swinging at your fastball, which usually gives up harder contact, you're going to have a good time. The thing is, it's really hard to do that sustainably, just to, ensure that batters aren't going to swing at your fastballs when you throw them in the zone, right? And Dunning has been doing that in the past. It looks like he's doing that now. He's not like getting a ton of whiffs or anything. So it's clearly like he's just getting some called strikes in the zone with his sinker, and then getting outs in the field and a few whiffs with his cutter, which is nice. He's got pretty limited pitch mix. He's not going to blow you away, but sometimes he can have stretches like this where he just has some good batted ball luck, and some passive hitters are just going to let him sort of toss easy fastballs in the zone, and then once they get down in the count, they're sort of screwed.
Yeah, Dunning, I just really respect his season a lot too. You talked about him being able to steal strikes with the fastball. He's a big control artist for this rotation, and I honestly really appreciate Dunning specifically because he's filling such a difficult role now. Obviously, stepping in for DeGrom, who's been out. And if you look at his stats since he started in the pen to start the season, so in 3 starts, he's gone 16 innings pitched, just given up 14 hits, 3 earned, 2 walks. He's got 12 Ks. His ERA as a starter is 1.59. And then in 8 relief appearances, he's gone 20 and a third innings, given up 12 hits, 4 earned, 5 walks this time, and then 11 Ks. So his ERA out of the pen is 1.7, like 1.77 on the season. That puts him like right at 1.7. Like I think that might be a couple points off. I'm not a math guy, but he's getting results, and he's been like a glue guy to continue the Rangers, like to keep them going. We talked about it for their offseason sort of review. The Rangers feel like such a boom or bust team because of their rotation, at least for me, where it's like, we know the health issues with Gray. We know the health issues with Eovaldi and DeGrom. And then you have guys in there that are like maybe known quantities, but it's sort of proving not to be with Martin Perez because he's sort of falling back down to earth. And Dane Dunning has just been the guy to pick up the pieces and keep them moving along. So, congratulations for Dane Dunning. Hopefully he can sustain it wherever they put him. I mean, if they keep him in their rotation, wonderful. He's doing a good job there. If they put him back in the pen, I mean, he'll do a great job there. So I like players like this. He's like the highest tier, like Alec Mills. Like I love premier swingmen. Like those are sick players.
Ross Stripling. The Rangers recently called up Cody Bradford, who's a 25-year-old left-handed pitching prospect. And I had never heard of him, but I was scrolling Facebook, and then somebody in a Facebook group was just like, just picked up this guy. What do you guys think? And I was just like, who the hell is that? So I look him up. This guy has a 0.91 ERA across 39 innings so far in AAA. You want to take a guess at what his xFIP is?
His xFIP, and you said his ERA is 0.91.
Yeah.
I feel like it's got to be bad if it's his X.
What do you mean? His ERA is so good.
I bet it's in the high fives. High fives.
5.25. His xFIP was 5.25. So then this guy's just like, all right, I'm going to start him in his major league debut versus the freaking Braves. And
how's that going?
I'll give you one guess.
I'm assuming it's bad.
He went 5 innings, allowed 7 hits and 6 earned runs on 2 home runs, 2 walks, and 3 strikeouts. Ooh. Nice. Yeah. No way. Who could have guessed that a 0.91 ERA at AAA with a 24% strikeout rate was unsustainable?
Oh my God. They set him up to fail. It's like the Cubs calling up Killian. Killian, he just got absolutely.
Well, no. That's the opposite. Killian was like, "I'm bad. Please don't call me up." And this guy was like, "I'm good, but like secretly I'm bad." And maybe the Rangers don't look at xFIP.
Maybe not.
His fastball's 89 miles an hour. Yeah.
Yeah, the Braves are probably not the ideal first start anyway, and they're like, oh yeah, this guy, he'll be fine.
Yeah.
We can move on to players of the week, which were announced on the 13th, and some cool dudes, both with NL Central ties. We're going to start in the AL with Anthony Rizzo of the New York Yankees, formerly of the Chicago Cubs. He has been really extremely underrated this year, just in general. Like I think at one point he was on pace to hit like 40 home runs and like have like 120 RBI or something like that. I don't think he's still on that pace, but Anthony Rizzo, considering the money that they're paying him and for him to be producing at the level that he's producing, because I feel like everyone sort of lumped him in the category with like maybe a higher tier than like Abreu or like around the same tier as like Abreu, and then or maybe a little lower, and like Yuli Gurriel is like, oh, he's a first baseman. If you need a first baseman, Rizzo's there. And it's like, no, that guy is still really good.
Yeah, he definitely won't be hitting 40 home runs. He's topped
Yeah,
out at 32 home runs 4
that
different
was the
times.
pace that's the pace
No,
that
I
he's
know, I know. I'm just saying it's
no,
pretty
never
spectacular
going
that
to.
he's hit his career high 32 home runs. He's done that 4 different times. Like it's
Mhm.
like he's physically incapable of hitting any more than that. He's like 32. Sorry, no, that's all you paid me
Oof.
for. But yeah,
Yep.
he's been great this year. I think it's clearly like a benefit. He's one of the biggest one of the people that are most benefiting from the
Benefactors,
yes, thank you. From the
beneficiary.
shift. Yes. He's the shift is helping him out a lot. It's helping him bat 308 so far this year. Obviously his BABIP's way up, but that's sort of the idea with the ban of the shift. Obviously not going to stay at 350, but even if it does come down 50 to 60 points, his average could come down with it and then still be in like the 250 range, which is better than he was last year when he was like a 225 hitter. So yeah, I think it's still same old Rizzo. Good to see like he's just gonna have better batted ball luck. And yeah, he's on his way to like secretly if he continues to be solid well into his 30s, he's gonna have like somewhat of a Hall of Fame case, and that'll be interesting to see.
Yeah, 32 home runs also. So they eliminated the shift, but also he's going to potentially be playing a full season because he dealt with a little bit of injury last year and also some inconsistency. He hit like it's Anthony Rizzo. He hit like 224 or 228 or something like that. Really struggled for a stretch. Um, but it's going to be Rizzo probably playing a full season with the short porch and no shift in New York. Yeah, that's probably going to play pretty well. Maybe he can finally cross the threshold and hit his 33rd home run season. That would be pretty cool. But yeah, Rizzo, really underrated player. And then another guy that I think was also extremely underrated by some to start the season. And he has pretty much established himself as the de facto ace of a burgeoning playoff team, and it's the Pittsburgh Pirates. It's Mitch Keller. That guy is just nasty. I think that everyone's known the stuff has been there for a long time, and putting all of the pieces together, we've just been waiting. And it
Mm-hmm.
sort of felt like he was going to be a guy that's going to have to break away like a Cole, like a Charlie Morton, etc., to really get the most out of what he has. And no, not the case at all. He's doing it now for the Pirates. I think at one point there were rumblings that they were talking about extending him too, which we'll have to put the picture of Bob Nutting as Mr. Krabs up on the screen again. But
On
yeah,
it.
Mitch Keller has been really, really good to start the season. Specifically, just pairing up like division opponents as well. He strikes out a lot of guys. If you haven't watched Mitch Keller pitch ever, he throws hard. He's pretty disgusting, and he's sitting right around like almost 2 WAR already through 9 starts. Pretty good. But yeah, so Pirates might lock down their ace for the future.
Yeah, he was definitely like a post hype sleeper kind of guy for a couple years. And I think starting last year, he went to Driveline and he added like 2 miles per hour to his fastball, and everybody was pumped. Unfortunately, he was sort of just a little bit better, and it was mostly just in terms of batted ball quality. Hitters were just not putting as much force into the balls against him, and he was getting a few more grounders. I think he was more of like a sinker pitcher. He was more of a four seam fastball, and he incorporated a sinker in 2022. And then this year, he sort of incorporated a cutter, and that's sort of been the big thing. And now he's maintained that increased fastball velocity, so he's throwing 95.5 miles per hour on his four seamer, and then he's got a cutter that is pretty meh, but it's mostly good for sort of keeping batters off balance and getting weak contact. And then that sinker comes in and gets a lot of ground balls. And then he's been using the slider to get swinging strikes. But the fastball's been incredible this year. PLV has it in the 50th percentile, but the CSW percentage at 37% on the pitches in the 94th percentile. So the four seamer's been pretty great. And now he's down to like a 2.38 ERA. His bumped his strikeout rate up 10%. He's walking fewer batters than ever. So that's a pretty freaking good strikeout to walk ratio there. And like he's in the upper echelon of pitchers in many different categories this year. And it's been cool to watch. I think the Pirates have been great so far this year. And a lot of it has been because of many different players. And a lot of it has been because of Keller himself. So cool to see him finally break out. we're starting to see the Pirates finally become fun.
Yeah, and I love that you talked about the fastball. If you go look at sort of his pitch by pitch metrics, not just from PLV, if you look at it on Savant, the put away percent on his fastball, sinker, and his sweeper are all really high. And the only thing he really has like bad metrics on at all is the changeup, and he just doesn't really throw that to anything but lefties. So like, he's been really, really good for the Pirates, and their rotation just in general has been solid. And I think everyone kind of no one expected the Pirates to be good. Like I think everyone, I can say that with confidence. Nobody expected the Pirates to be good unless you are the biggest optimist in the world to start the season. I'm glad they are. Don't get me wrong. But Mitch Keller has been leading the charge with that rotation that I think everyone sort of expected to be really bad or sort of like middle of the pack at best. Like they've got a lot of guys that are question marks or old dudes in there. Like Rich Hill started today. He's 43. Like that guy could literally almost be like one of our dads, which is crazy. But yeah, I love that for Mitch Keller. I love that for the Pirates. And then we just have a couple more things that we're going to talk about, which is one of the real dumb things of the last few days. And it's cheating allegations against the Yankees. They had the whole issue with Aaron Judge sort of side-eyeing and looking over at the dugout that the Rays sort of made a big stink about. And a couple guys in the media made a big deal about for one way or another. And then we had the ejection, obviously, last night of Domingo Germán for the sticky stuff on his hands. Also by Phil Cousy. Put it up there. Yeah, also by Phil Cousy. Another sticky stuff ejection from the Sticky Bandits in New York. Maybe they ride the subway and somebody like keeps putting like glue or some sort of weird thing on like the handrails and they just touch them when they're going to the games and they can't get it off.
Nice. Good call. Yeah, that's probably what it is. No, I have no idea what it is. Domingo Germán's definitely doing something weird. And the whole like double standard that they gave to him versus Scherzer the first time was pretty messed up, but I don't know. And then there was the whole like thing when he was in the dugout after he got thrown out and he got like a bunch of stuff on his pants, right? But it was like right after he put like a big lip of dip in. And then he like put his hand on his hip. And so I think that could have been the cause for the coloration, but who knows if he was also using that to like just get a little bit of sticky stuff on his hand with the resin from the tobacco. So I have no idea. This guy's clearly not a great guy. He's been in the past a guy who's performed domestic violence against his significant other. He's already had problems with the sticky stuff this year, a few starts ago. And it's like to do this the day after everybody's already started to look at the Yankees as cheating after Judge's whole thing is probably not the best day to test that, to push the envelope there. But yeah, I don't know what the Judge thing is. I feel like, yeah, the first base coach could have been doing signs, and I feel like that's fair. He's on the field to play, you know, if he sees something that the pitcher's doing, whether like because he can see his back or see how he's holding the ball or whatever, then yeah, I feel like that's fair play. If he's looking into the dugout, you know, I feel like it's all fair play as long as like they're not using electronics or whatever, you know, as long as they're not doing like anything external to what's sort of allowed in the game, that's completely fine. I also saw people saying, you know, he's like resetting his eyes, because it's like if you're staring at the pitcher for a long time, your eyes will sort of glaze over. You just got to like look at something else to like reset your eyes, refocus. And yeah, I don't know. I don't think Judge needs to be cheating. It's not like he's been otherworldly this year either. He did have a hot stretch recently. He's got like 5 home runs in his last 4 games or something, which is incredible. But yeah, nobody was really saying this last year, right? I mean, last year it would have made sense. The guy was having a Barry Bonds season. And yeah, I don't know. Are the Yankees cheating? I think the real question is probably, but so is everyone else.
I think you hit the nail on the head, honestly. Even if he's over there looking to steal signs, that is not in and of itself illegal. Like, you can steal signs. That's part of baseball. The whole issue, I sent Jake a funny picture. So like, the whole issue with the sign stealing stuff with like the Astros was they were using cameras and stuff to steal signs and then relay them. So they made it really easy. If a pitcher is very clearly tipping something or giving it away,
the guy said he was tipping.
Yeah, and if you can steal signs that way, that's fine. There's never been a problem with that ever. Like that will never be a problem at all. That's like the big thing. I honestly, Aaron Judge doesn't need to cheat, man. I promise he doesn't. That dude's genuinely just a complete freak athlete. There's no potential reason at all they would need to cheat. The stuff with Herman, though, it is very difficult to give him the benefit of the doubt. I understand that. If Jake mentioned the stuff, the domestic abuse allegations, at that point, once a guy kind of has that cloud over his head, those guys, at least for me, and I know umpires have to look at it objectively, those guys are hard to give the benefit of the doubt. And even then, look at
Nobody
it. Nobody
wants to take their side.
Nobody will ever want to take their side. It's also Phil Cousy. He's the only one that's ejected anybody at all over the sticky stuff.
And then the umpire said that's the stickiest hand I've ever felt after they already said that about Max Scherzer.
Yeah. If these guys were entering the world's stickiest hand competition, I couldn't pick a winner, is what he said. Yeah, that's so goofy and such a weird sentence to say about another person.
He actually said that?
I think that was like a thing. The whole thing too with Herman in the dugout, you can very clearly see the goop or whatever it's on his pants. Like, even if it is just residue from like you putting a lip in, like you can't be doing that at that point in time. Like,
no, maybe wait till you're down the tunnel.
Yeah, wait till you're down the tunnel.
The camera caught him in 4K, just like zooms all the way in on his
saw that. You can see you can see the droplets of it, like literally like glued to his pants. Like, that's just a bad look. Even if he's not cheating, it's sort of incriminating. I think they did issue a suspension for him.
10 games, and he's not appealing.
Yeah, he's not appealing. There's no reason to appeal. I mean, he'll miss like 2 starts maybe. So like
it's sort of sick being a pitcher and getting.
I got suspended for 10 days.
Even like the like short, they'll do like 5. They'll do like the 4-game suspensions. It's just like I wasn't even gonna play. I was not planning on playing. So yeah, thanks. I don't have to show up to work for a few days.
Right. That's so dumb. I don't know. I really feel like that's sort of stupid. And the whole thing with Judge. Have you seen Judge's hit celebration where he covered his eyes to troll the Blue Jays? I
have not seen that, but yeah, they're turning into a real rivalry there. You saw the manager call somebody on the Blue Jays manager called somebody on the Yankees. He said, shut up, fat boy.
That's so sick.
Did you see that?
Who did he call fat boy?
I don't know. It was I think it prompted Aaron Boone to walk out, but I don't think he was calling it to Aaron Boone, but he called somebody fat boy. And I was like, who on the Yankees is fat?
That's sick.
Like, they don't have Luke Voigt anymore.
That's so
goofy.
Sick.
It was like, well, who are you calling fat?
Oh, I'm trying to figure out who. I've got to know. I have to know who he called fat boy.
All right, I'll let you look. I'll pull up a couple.
I am looking it up. I've got to find out.
All right, I've got.
some memes. Okay.
All right, which one is this?
He called a coach fat boy.
Yeah, that's who it was.
That's awesome.
Yeah. All right. While Davis was looking that up, I've got a meme up, and we've got the Bean baseball holder, $20, used only a couple times, holds half a can of beans. Good find for the baseball/baked bean fan. And we all know there's a very large section of the Venn diagram between baked bean fans and baseball fans. You like baked beans? No, I don't. This item is not for me. You don't like baked beans? No, I don't. I would put jelly beans in it, though. What's wrong with baked beans? I just don't like them, Jake. Why am I getting put on the spot on podcast? Put on the spot. It's a baseball podcast. Why don't you like the baked beans? It's not a beans podcast, Jake. Well, you know what? Right now it is, Davis. Right now it's a bean podcast. It's a bean podcast right now. And you know what? In England, they have beans for breakfast. And this would be sick. You wake up. You don't know. You know that. I did know that. But It's still weird. It is weird. Yes. I don't think I could eat beans for breakfast. I'll have coffee beans, but I won't eat them. we'll have beans with other meals. But yeah, this is a very weird picture. Used only a couple times. And like, is it actually a baseball bean holder? Like, is it supposed to be for beans, or is it just like the skin of a baseball that somebody put beans in and then posted on Craigslist?
This is like one of my favorite formats of memes, though. Like I saw one the other day where someone took a high heel shoe and they filled it with soup, and they called it Shoop, SHOEP.
Or SCHOOP, Jonathan.
Yeah, Jonathan Soup, and where you could fill it with jelly beans or sunflower seeds. It's multi-purpose. It doesn't just have to be for beans.
But it says bean.
It says
bean on there.
But
yeah,
you can repurpose. You can repurpose your things.
I don't know. I feel like it's
I'm
pretty
gonna
clear what it's used for.
I'm gonna hit Jake with the shut up fat boy here in a minute.
All right, let's move on.
Yeah, any more of that, and we're gonna be done.
They'll ban us from Facebook.
Yep. Mark Zuckerberg will eliminate us.
He'll come do his taekwondo, his jujitsu on us. You saw he like won a tournament.
Yeah. He's gonna judo throw me.
I've had nightmares of that. Yeah, I've had nightmares that Mark Zuckerberg's gonna come jujitsu me.
Something that can take our mind off of the nightmare of Mark Zuckerberg judo throwing us is the Reds release their City Connect jerseys. We talked about the release schedule a little bit, and the Reds released these things. How do you feel about it?
Yeah, I mean, this is sort of like I don't know. I feel like it just sort of it's one of the City Connect jerseys, and I don't think it's gonna rise, but I also don't think it's gonna drop. It's definitely not a bad jersey. I like how different it is. There are very few all black jerseys. I like that they switched up a lot of this stuff, right? So you have like Cincy instead of the full name spelled out, or the Reds or whatever, and then you got the C is different. So that's cool to see something different, but that's about it. That's about it. It's not a full black jersey. It's like blackish gray. It was Cincy and a new red C, and that's about it. And I think it looks pretty sleek. I think it's gonna look good on the field. And yeah, it's not like the Padres jersey where it's like a lot at first. It like hits all your senses, and then you sort of grow to like it. And it's not like the Dodgers jersey where it's like you're immediately no. This is sort of just like it's there. It's going to be solid. I think it's going to look pretty sleek on the field. And yeah, that's sort of about it.
I don't really like them. I don't really like them. They're not my least favorite for sure. They're just really basic. They honestly look a lot like I'll say you ought to pull up pictures of like the Cincinnati Bearcats, like the college. It looks really similar to like a Cincinnati University thing that they would have, and not like an actual Reds deal. However, the helmets and the hats, you can't see the full thing with the hat with this picture. The red stripe on the base of the hat, like right here, is gas. I love that. Like, that's really sick. It's also on the batting helmet. Those are really cool. Also on the sleeve, you can sort of see it. On the right sleeve, it's got the big C too. I like that too, and it's got like kind of the Buckeye, like the Ohio Buckeye thing on there. But this falls in the category for me with the City Connect jersey that I've complained about with so many of the other ones. Like, yeah, the jersey's cool. It's not a City Connect. It doesn't connect to the city. Like, it dope jersey, awesome, super sick. Don't get me wrong. Doesn't connect to the city enough, so I'm not a big fan. I would really like to see them bring back the sleeveless jerseys like that Ken Griffey Jr. and Adam Dunn wore, though. That'd be really dope. They're fine. I mean, if you don't watch Foolish Baseball, you should follow him on Twitter and watch his videos and stuff too. But he literally said the most accurate thing for this was like, this falls in the category of they're cool jerseys, but they also probably look like they were designed by a 12-year-old.
These are like MLB The Show.
Yeah.
Create your own jerseys.
Yeah, they are. They're fine.
You thought of Ken Griffey Jr. and Adam Dunn when you thought, oh, I see what I know what you're talking about.
Jerseys.
Because I was thinking of like the Ted Klazuski.
No, I don't actually.
Oh, Look
I'll
up Ted
Google it.
Kluszewski. Yeah,
I
that's
know
what
how to
I
spell
thought,
that.
but I know what you're talking about, where they have like the black undershirt. Yeah. Those are
No,
those
no,
are
no,
classic.
no, no, no,
Yeah,
no, not those. I'm talking about the black undershirt
yeah. No, I know
sleeveless
what you're talking
jerseys.
about. When we were growing up, mid 2000s
Yes,
Reds.
those
Yeah,
those were dope. I would have liked to have seen like a callback to something like that. More, I don't see, like, the thing is like, oh, they could have done this for Cincinnati, but I don't know anything about Cincinnati.
they should have done a chili jersey. I'll say
Yeah, they
it.
should do the
They should have
Skyline
had
jersey,
baseball bean holder as their hat.
Skyline chili for the rest of their jersey.
Yeah,
So like, what tier of City Connect would you put this in?
C,
Yeah, I think C is good.
mid. Yeah. But you know what? For those that didn't like the Reds jersey, we did get an even more controversial jersey in NPB.
Yeah, that one. Do you have the picture of it? Yes.
I have lots of pictures. That one's funny.
Yeah,
That guy's name is
those.
so long.
His first name is even worse. That picture and that one show the best two of it. Bro, these jerseys are gas.
Yeah, I saw people saying the opposite though. That these
yeah,
were
they're stupid.
terrible.
No, they're stupid.
Yeah, these are awesome.
So sick.
These are sick. They look like they're about to they look like superheroes.
I'm sending you another picture if you can put it in the podcast. That one, this picture is rad. These jerseys are gas. And if you don't know anything, these are from the Hokkaido Nippon Ham Fighters. This is from the team that Otani played for and came from.
I would love to see Otani.
Yeah, they're sick, man. You talked about the Ted Kluszewski thing in the sleeveless. I literally, a picture of Ted Kluszewski, the first one is him wearing the sleeveless jersey.
Yeah, no, because that's why I said Ted Kluszewski, because I don't think people know about him as a baseball player. They know about him as the guy that wore the sleeveless Reds jerseys. He was good though. But yeah, these jerseys are sick. I'm doing my best to get that picture you sent in there so we can get one better look. But yeah,
some cool stuff about this is that the manager of the team made these. He designed these. Tsuyoshi Shinjo, and he's the one that comes out and has the crazy entrances. He was the one that was on the pyre. Do you remember the one where they had the big thing where they carried him out on like the whatever?
You're talking about the big boss, whatever his name.
Yeah, he's big boss. It's big boss Tsuyoshi Shinjo. He's the one that made these. He designed these and made them. The pictures are sick. It obviously has the weird leg and the collar. Bro, the collar flares. A collared shirt. It flares open insanely deep. There's a big, yeah. The dude with the mask is the manager.
That's a manager? That guy looks like the number 3 hitter.
He's their manager. He's so sick.
Yeah, that is awesome. He's got it unbuttoned too to show off the chest. Yeah, it looks so sick.
Former forever giant, Tsuyoshi Shinjo.
It sort of gives me hints of like the like futuristic uniforms that they used to do. You know what I'm talking about?
The turn back the clock.
Exactly. Turn ahead the clock.
Turn ahead the clock. That's right.
Yeah. And they did those recently too, and they weren't that cool. But this sort of like looks like the future of like sick, like out there baseball uniforms. Just like the design on the jersey and just the like you said, the collar and the pants are sort of crazy, and I like the hat too, how it's a lot different too. Normally you just get the logo right in the center, so you get the nice the heck is it called when things are the same on both sides?
No, we'll figure it out. I honestly can't.
You know what I'm talking about.
I know what you're talking about.
Okay,
but I can't. The word is escaping.
But yeah, I like that it's not just like a centered logo, and you get the F sort of off to the side, and I don't know what's on the rest of that hat, but yeah, those are super sick uniforms. I'd love to see them wear them more often. I think this is more of like a special uniform, or it'll sort of get old really quick. But wearing these one night a week would be pretty awesome.
No, these will never get old. The collar is gas. If you have, I sent Jake a picture of it. You should look at the other two. The collar is insanely big. If you can't, if you can't tell from the picture, the collar goes almost up to the dude's like the top of their ear, like he's Count Dracula. And this guy, the huge muscle man, yeah, he's their manager, and he is a complete and total idiot.
Those are so sick.
Yeah, he's the goat for this. These are so cool.
And he's got shiny shoes too.
And he's wearing the chain, and he's got it unbuttoned as low as it'll go.
That's so sick.
There's a higher res picture of it I sent to you too. He's got like Gucci sunglasses on top of his hat. On top of his hat.
What a guy.
Yeah, Big Boss is kind of the goat.
We need more managers like that.
The game they debuted this too, I'm pretty sure they trashed whoever they played.
Bro, how could you not?
Yeah, I mean, you have to. You can't play. You can't wear these and lose.
I mean, these would fire me up. I would be seeing the picture super well. I'd be feeling like Barry Bonds.
Everyone's Barry Bonds. Oh man, I bet those practices are fun with that dude. I bet he's completely ridiculous.
It's a party every time. What if he's just a jerk at practice? Like he's just super hard on that.
Maybe he is. Maybe he like just plays like a cool dude. And he's like a total asshole.
Yeah, they all just hate him.
Oh yeah. Somebody that might hate where they're at is Tim Anderson, who we're trying to decipher what he said in the White Sox game after getting on base. Potential things that we thought he might have said. It's sort of tough to play, but I think the prevailing one was that he said he hates this place, and they were at a home game on the south side. The White Sox, who are obviously stuck in the muck and the mire so far, cannot get out of the starting blocks, and they are just awful, flat out terrible. Tim Anderson potentially ready to move on to greener pastures. What do you think? We were sort of disagreeing on this.
Well, I don't know. Everybody was saying, I hate this place. The first tweet I saw was a quote tweet of it, of somebody saying that he was saying, I hate the pitch clock. And I can see that because it looks like he says 5 words. So I could see that. I don't know the context. I don't know like what happened before he got on base, before he got on first base. And also like he says it, and who are they facing?
I think they're playing the Astros.
Yeah. Jose Abreu was at first, and he sort of nods. It's like he heard what Tim Anderson said, and he like nodded in sort of like agreement, in sort of like somber agreement. And I don't know if, actually Jose Abreu did play for the White Sox.
That's right.
Now that I think about it, if he said, I hate this place, then he could be like, yeah, bro, this is why I left. But also he could say, I hate the pitch clock. And then Jose Abreu was nodding like, yeah, bro, me too. But also some people are saying he could have said, I hate this brace. Like he's injured and he's got a brace. I don't know. I didn't get any confirmation about whether he's injured or whether he's wearing a brace or not, but that could also make sense. And maybe Jose Abreu was just sort of doing it, nodding to in solidarity with him. But yeah, it's not a good look. I mean, we know how I hate this places can go positively, as we saw with Alec Boehm and the Phillies. He sort of became a fan favorite after owning up to saying that he hated this place. That was honestly a great story. But yeah, I don't know what Tim Anderson said. I'm siding with I hate the pitch clock. I think that makes more sense. I don't know if something happened with that. I would need to research it more, and that's definitely not something I'm going to spend my time doing. But yeah, I don't think it needs to be a big deal anyway. Like, he's a free agent, I think, after next year. And, you know, if he leaves and he doesn't consider the White Sox, then that's fine. But, I mean, it sort of makes sense. The White Sox have been a pretty trash franchise the last couple of years, and it's pretty hard to disagree with him right now, you know?
Yeah, either way, I mean, he says he hates the pitch clock. It looks like he was having a conversation with Jose Abreu, because Jose Abreu kind of like nods. He definitely goes, yeah, man, something like that. I think it's probably he hates the pitch clock. But even if he did say he hates the White Sox, I mean, can you honestly blame him? They've been terrible pretty much the entire time. And it's not like he's literally like, what have the White Sox done that would be like, hey, don't say that? Like, no, they suck. Like, you should hate playing for them because they're terrible and they're wasting your career by being pretty terrible.
You know what they have done that's great, though?
What?
Employed
the Burger
Jake
King.
Burger.
Didn't he?
We're waiting. He homered again today. That's 3 straight games he returned from the IL. We're waiting on these to get deep fried, but these are pretty.
I like the socks like hovering over it like a little bit.
Uh-huh. Yeah,
That
he's
one's
been
like,
he's been pretty hot this year, and then you also have like the meme of that radio show guy. The best hitter on our team is Jake Berger. So yeah,
bro, Jake
that's how the
Berger's
White Sox
sick.
season's going.
How is
Yeah,
that like down in it? Jake Berger's nuts.
no, that's downing the White Sox
That's true.
because nobody else
But yeah.
knows who Jake Berger is.
But yeah, the Tim Anderson thing I think is a non-issue. If he hates the White Sox, guess what? All your fans hate the White Sox. And if he hates the pitch clock, well, you can't really do anything about it except get used to it there, bozo. Yeah, I think that is pretty much it. We can move on to Jake's meme segment.
Yeah, memes. We've got some more memes today. We've been transferring towards a more meme centered podcast, and I think it's been fun so far. Throw them in throughout the podcast, and then sort of wrap up with a big meme show. So obviously we've got our Bean meme. That was a good segment, but also we've got. I mean, this is just a meme in and of itself. He who shall not be named, just being absolutely terrible in Japan. He had a good first start, but the last two have been at least 7 earned runs, and yeah, it's pretty funny, especially because his team was sort of pumping him up too. It was more like the social media team was like really supporting him, being like, yeah, like this is the guy. And now, yeah, it's like, no, you suck. It was always the sticky stuff. He was always a terrible person.
Couldn't have happened to a nicer guy.
Yeah. Yeah, we got our Burger King. We got our sticky bandits. The boys. I still don't think Max was cheating. I believe him. We got this one, Davis sent. I think this one would have worked well when we were talking about Norman Aramondo, when the top half you can say is that's when Norman was terrible, and the bottom half you can say that's when he was back to being Nolan. But yeah, it looks like the Cardinals are coming back. I honestly feel like that start was so bad that it's going to be pretty difficult for them to recover enough to make the playoffs, but we'll see. I wouldn't say the NL Central is super strong, but Pirates have been interesting. The Cubs have potential. The Brewers are brewing.
Aren't the Brewers like top or like bottom 5 offense right now?
I don't know. Then how are they in first place?
Their pitching has been good. Their offense is very, very
Their
not.
pitching has
not
not
great.
been good. Is the thing. Their pitching has not been good. Their bullpen is fine, but it's like Corbin Burns has not been Corbin Burns. Brandon Woodruff has been injured. Freddie Peralta has been up and down. They don't even have Aaron Ashby.
Corbin Burns doesn't want to be there anymore.
Oh, yeah, I don't blame him. That arbitration stuff this offseason was ridiculous.
Do you think that they'd kind of do a hater on him and trade him in the middle of the season to try to recoup their losses?
Not if they're in first place.
Did they trade Hader when they were in first place, or were they in second?
No, because they didn't make the playoffs last year. I don't know when they started falling off.
Well, they were above 500 when they traded him.
The thing was, they did like a sort of a swap where like they still stayed competitive and got.
Yeah. Do you think they could try to swing something like that too with Burns?
I mean, like, what teams would want him? What teams would want him for half a year that could also give up major league ready talent right now? Because it's like, I don't know, let's say the Dodgers, they just lost Dustin May for 6 weeks. Let's say the Dodgers do that. Like, who are the Dodgers trading back over that they feel good enough about their rotation that's already missing Brandon Woodruff and doesn't really have anybody else outside of Freddie Peralta? Like, I don't know. The Dodgers aren't going to be trading them like Miguel Vargas or something.
Good. Miley's good.
Maybe they can take like Gavin Stone or something, like somebody like a young starter that can pitch right now. But yeah, I don't know. It seems like it'd be hard to swing, but I never thought that they would be trading Taylor Rogers or Josh Hader for Taylor Rogers and Esteury Ruiz last year. So anything can happen. Yeah, and I think that's all our memes.
Yep, it sure is. Except for our next segment, which is bringing the closer, because we have a very fun one today, and I wore the hat for him.
Fun is not the right word.
Yeah, it's not, but his whole career in life is a meme because the guy is not really a cool dude.
I just found this ticker on. Sorry for interrupting you. I just found this ticker.
Oh, nice.
What are they talking about on their basketball podcast?
Current topic, our experiences with today's Bring in the Closer, who probably knows a lot about that. is
Does
John
he?
Rocker.
Yes.
Well, didn't he got in trouble for doing
He
that?
got
He
in trouble
probably
for a lot of things, and
everything.
we'll
But
get
yeah,
over. And I
today's
didn't
pleasure.
have that in mind when doing this. I'll give like a pre-story that like I was just looking for somebody with a short career because I didn't have a lot of time to put this one together. And I was like, oh, this guy's 6 years career. He's got quite a few saves. Like, maybe he's got something interesting. And I like read like one sentence of his
You
Wikipedia and I was like,
didn't
oh
know about John
God.
Rocker?
No, I recognized the name and I was like, why do I recognize the name? And now I understand why. But let's get into it. John Rocker had a 6-year career from 1998 to 2003 with the Braves, Indians, Rangers, and Devil Rays. He was drafted by the Braves in the 18th round of the 93 draft and debuted in May of 1998 versus the Dodgers, tossing a scoreless inning, allowing 2 hits, a walk, and striking out 2 batters. He got off to a fast start in his debut campaign, tossing 38 innings with a career best 2.13 ERA, the first 2 saves of his career, and a career best 1.15 whip. And then he became the full-time closer in just his second season in the majors, tossing a career high 72 and a third innings with a 2.49 ERA and a career high 38 saves and a career high 104 strikeouts. But by this time, he was already a racist piece of crap. This was his quote about possibly playing for the Yankees. He said, I'd retire first. It's the most hectic, nerve-wracking city. Imagine having to take the 7 train to the ballpark, looking like you're riding through Beirut next to some kid with purple hair, next to some queer with AIDS, right next to some dude who just got out of jail for the 4th time, right next to some 20-year-old mom with 4 kids. It's depressing. Oh my God. The biggest thing I don't like about New York are the foreigners. You can walk an entire block in Times Square and not hear anybody speaking English. Oh my God. Asians and Koreans and Vietnamese and Indians and Russians and Spanish people and everything up there. How the hell did they get in this country? Oh my God. That's awful. And then he also spoke about the Mets and their fans. And he said, nowhere else in the country do people spit at you, throw bottles at you, throw quarters at you, throw batteries at you and say, hey, I did your mother last night. She's a WHORE. I talked about what degenerates they were, and they proved me right. Yeah, and that's just the like first section of the controversies tab on his Wikipedia page. All kinds of stuff. Actually, the next season, 1990, what was it, 2000? 2000. He actually pitched well, 2.89 ERA and 24 more saves, but he was demoted to the minor leagues during the season because he threatened a reporter. Just was threatening the life of a reporter and got sent down to the minor leagues. And then halfway through the 2001 season, he was traded to the Indians. So from one racist team to another, and he fell apart after leaving Atlanta. In Atlanta, he had a 3.09 ERA and 19 saves that year in 2001. And then in Cleveland, he had a 5.45 ERA and just 4 saves. And then he pitched like the devil in 2002 for the Rangers with a 6.66 ERA and a save. And then he finished out his career with 1 inning for the Devil Rays. And that wrapped up a career in which he had 3.5 Baseball Reference WAR across 255 and a third innings pitched with 332 strikeouts, a 3.42 ERA, a 1.43 whip, and 88 saves, which is tied with Jim Kern for 195th all time.
Yeah, if you don't know anything about John Rocker, there is an absolutely spectacular article about him by Jeff Pearlman on Bleacher Report. A reporter. It's called A Reporter's Tale, the John Rocker story 15 years later. He did one that kind of broke on how shitty John Rocker was at the start. And this article is so sick. And I remember reading this literally when it came out in 2014. Before I was even like, that was when I liked baseball and I wasn't the most into it. Mm-hmm. This was like, oh my God, this guy is an absolute psychopath.
Yes.
This is one of my favorite paragraphs from it. He's talking about being picked up by him. And he says, Jesus Christ, the man was driving fast, really fast. And he's driving in a Chevy Tahoe. When we jumped onto Route 400 heading north, before long, John slowed for a toll booth. He tossed in some money and the bar didn't rise. He tossed more money, the bar still didn't rise. A loud honk emerged from the vehicle behind us, prompting John to roll down the window, stick out his left hand, flash the middle finger, and scream, F you, at the person behind him.
Oh my
Then,
God.
in what was surely a first for athlete-journalist interactions, he hawked an enormous loogie at the machine. Somehow, the bar eventually rose.
He also referred to a Kurosawan teammate as a fat monkey.
He did.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, and he
This next part said, "We found ourselves behind a slow-moving, erratically controlled beige Toyota. Look at this idiot. I guarantee she's an Asian. I guarantee she's a Japanese woman."
Oh my God. That's just
He's
it's hard
one
to
of
laugh.
the worst people ever.
It's just
He
laughing at how
sucks
ridiculous
so
and
bad.
terrible this guy is.
Oh
Yeah.
yeah, he is so bad, man. He is
He also
just a
made
miserable
national
person.
headlines after directing slurs towards patrons of a Dallas restaurant at which he was dining, located in the heavily LGBTQ populated neighborhood of Oak Lawn.
Yep,
And
he is.
he defended former teammate Ozzie Guillen for referring to somebody as a gay slur. Nice. And
Yeah,
he
that
claimed
guy
that it was
sucks, man.
yeah. Here's one final quote. This is a free country. If he wants to use a lewd term, he should be able to use a lewd term. Can't you use a lewd term in America if you want?
I hate him so much.
Oh, he also did steroids.
Yeah, he's overall the guy's one of the absolute worst people
Yes.
at all. Yeah. The one of the worst parts about this story too is it also shows you how shitty Will Clark is because Will Clark defended John Rock.
I had no idea Will Clark sucked.
Yeah, Will Clark really sucks. That's enough of baseball players and old dudes who suck. This has been the Free Baseball Podcast. This is enough John Rocker. I feel like I have secondhand PTSD for Jeff Perlman for this. But yeah, it's enough for today on this episode of the Free Baseball Podcast presented by the Athlete Sub. It's me, Dave Spurd. I host this thing, but I'm not really the star of the show. I just kind of gave this dude the vehicle. Talk about baseball.
Star?
Huh?
You think I'm a star?
Yeah. Jake's a star. He writes for all these websites like
theathleteshub.org every once in a while, and also pitcherlist.com and baseball HQ. Go find my work on crumplerbaseball.com. You can find everything there. You can go to the websites individually, but it's easier if you're a big fan of myself, considering I'm a star. There's lots of you. You can find all my work there, all the podcasts, all the articles. You can find my college thesis, the one I did as a senior. That one's actually a good read. But yeah, that's about all I do outside of it's all I do outside of playing Zelda as much as I can.
How's the new game?
It's absolutely incredible. It's impossible to imagine that they could take like the best game I've ever played and like just make it better. And you know what they did? And I think anybody that likes video games of any sort and has a Switch should go buy it. And if you don't have a Switch, you should go buy a Switch.
Yeah. And like I said, you should follow the Athlete Sub on Twitter as well as our social media. Follow Jake at Jake Crumpler on Twitter and me at DVSBird. And you can follow the Athlete Sub at Athlete Sub. That way you will get to see every single one of these as soon as it comes out. You can go on there and turn on post notifications, post articles very sporadically. Schedule is sort of weird. We're trying to fix that. But all sorts of stuff covering the NBA playoffs, covering the NFL draft, most recently NBA draft coming up with, the Spurs winning the lottery yesterday. You can come back here and you can check out Deep Takes from Three, the basketball podcast with Gary, Devin, and Isaiah, who is occasionally on here as well. There's all sorts of stuff, and it's fan content made by fans for fans, just like the Sunny thing, Fight Milk's made for bodyguards by bodyguards. It's our content, and that's the best way to describe it. Take that as you will. But that's all we have for today. Goodbye.